is because all of these things are unraveling. They're trying to kill off the host. In other words, the vampires are trying to kill off the host rather than be pulled off. It's sort of like this. This is their position. If I can't rule, I'm going to burn it down. That's their position. That is their position, and people need to understand that. However, their power also depends on us keep believing in them and supporting their systems. And the shadow government is supported through the property tax placed upon the houses that the people dwell in that they think they own. They're renting from the Khazarians. It's been hypothecated under usufruct, controlled by the U.S. corporation company. These same people that keep saying to you that they're your representative Congress and senators are field operatives of Rome. That's why Washington, they'll say D.C., and you won't see them use the whole name because they don't want the people to be reminded that Columbia is Roman goddess. That's her district or seat in the Maghreb, seat in the West. The connection is to the city of Rome, or city of London, not London City in the concept that people have. That's a corporate district that deals with all of the usufructory paper, private commercial paper, that the animals are trained, and I say animals because that's how they speak of it, trained is money. When there are voucher systems to the Sister QV Trust, controlled by the popes of Rome, who wear dresses to claim the position of the matriarchy, which was overthrown. You need to understand their partners. The fact that the people think they're separate is part of the scatterbrain operations. But because they're threatened, they're trying to kill off the creditors, which is you, who are under occupation. The legal term is called usufruct. The operation is called usufructory. That's why they don't teach civics. That's why they don't teach jurisprudence, so that the people don't know what they're dealing with. And they do the wars to distract you. The wars are not for winning. The wars are for human sacrifice. But the people think it's for winning. That's why the people say, why don't they just win the war and do this and do? It's not for winning. It's for drawing out to kill off. It's called culling. C-U-L-L-I-N-G. In another term, on the principle of occupation and usufructory, it would be called Herod killing the firstborn. So they can't have what? The inheritance. Why? Because they're using it. Occupation. Now you understand rights of indigenous people, and also the decolonization 1960 that has not been taught to the people. But to cover their tracks, they put in, I think it's part 1, Article 5, the people have a right to a name and nationality. That's why that's there. So they can say that they told the people, because remember, in order to declare the heir, you got to name them. And it can't be a pseudonym or what is known as a nom de guerre, which is known as war name. That's why they did the 14th Amendment, to create the nom de guerre to distort the truth of heirship. People need to understand you're talking heirship. Stop talking racism, which is a diversion. Why do you think they did the counter move in 1913? When did Drew Ali set up Old Canaanite Temple officially?
19.
On the record.
Is it the same year? I don't know.
1913.
Yeah, the same year, 1913.
What geographical location?
Chicago?
Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, Newark. And before you went to Chicago, okay.
What do you look at when you look right to the east? You see the Statue of Liberty.
Empire, yeah, New York, yeah.
How many spires are on her head? 7. Where does she stand? In the bay. It's code.
Mm-hmm.
They're the heirs. And don't know they're the heirs. The issue is about inheritance. Now you understand Rebecca Matuaka story?
Mm-hmm.
Rewritten as Pocahontas. Gravesend, England, where they murdered her, threw her in the water, drowned her, and then started what is known as Jamestown, Virginia. Then they took Maryland, a part of Maryland and a part of Virginia, and on the line, they built a monument, obelisk, and they call it what? Virgin Mary.
Oh, Virgin Mary.
Virginia, Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see the time warp. And then where do they seat there? A throne for the Roman goddess. Now you understand the brass plaque at the Daughters of the American Revolution, DAR. The citizenship manual that's studied around the world, DAR manual. Why Asiatic women cannot be members? Because they're the target. I'm throwing out things that need to be looked at so that people can get rid of their. The major reason we're talking the way we're talking, we have to slay the naivety that permeates our thought processes.
Yeah.
In other words, the new mind can't take root until we sweep out the trash. So the people have to be reborn with a new mind. So we have to do what? We have to, without anger, explain the system and break the codes. And then they have to use their common science to break the rest, because that's how they'll break out of the shell. They have to do it. You can't do it for them. However, we can assist. That's all we're doing. But they have to break the usufruct in order to break the hypothecation, in order to claim the estate. Who's the heir and who is not? That's why they renamed Mataruka Rebecca after the book in the Bible, Genesis. And what chapter is it? What's the number of the chapter? With the transfer issue of the birthright with Isaac, Esau, Rebecca. What is 2 and 5?
7.
Oh. Code. So I told you not to get rid of the Bible.
I didn't.
No, why I made the statements.
Oh.
See, because one of the keys is to create things that all of that stuff didn't come from us. All of it is ours, not some of it. even though some of it's modified by them to tell our story as his story. He interjected himself. He's the alien. That's why Ulysses Grant modified the Naturalization Act after they got rid of Lincoln. And now they're having a problem with it themselves at the border when they're the alien. And they're talking about the other Americans that crossed the border, aren't they? It's kind of a dichotomy, isn't it? It's kind of like an interesting political contradiction, isn't it? Yeah. But most people who don't understand political and geographical jurisdiction are blinded with them loosely and improperly hypothecating the name American when it don't belong to them. And the people have forgotten. Not all, but that's what they're dealing with now. So keep in mind, as we've talked for years, that the nations will stop buying U.S. Treasury bonds and U.S. Surety bonds. That's where you're in now. So that means, this is what it means. It means that the trustees for the Circle Church and Chancery, Fleet Street, England, will have to create more private commercial paper and attempt to sell it on the world market through Water Street, and no one's buying them. Therefore, they will have to make a loop circle, create it and buy it back, and create it and buy it back, and create it and buy it back, and that's what's going to kill it. It will strengthen, not, fall. It will strengthen and then disappear. And they know it's coming and it's unstoppable. That's where I'm telling you where they are, so that we can understand that what they're telling us is not what they're really thinking. I'm giving you some of their thoughts. Meaning that I'm showing you the deck, the marked deck. Do with it what you will. But with the people, they can't say they haven't been told. Because we haven't just introduced this in this conversation. We've done this over the years. However, it's vital at this moment to bring forward.
Move your finger from your eye.
Oh, yeah. I'm always sticking at it.
I'm watching you, so stop.
What they're doing now, right? Now, so remember, as we said years ago, when we told people to take their fiat out the banks?
Yeah.
That's because they're going to take it. And even though it's fiat, that's going to be the last vestige of control for the digital transfers, because the fiat is only for record keeping. But it's still digital. It's been digital. All fiat is digital. And this is back to where things are done in people's faces and they can't see. They think that digital currency is something that's recently introduced, when all fiat is itself simply a record bookkeeping system for digital transfer, which is why they can rob you at any time without physically taking it from you. Now they want total control, which is why they want to take the physical reserve debt note to take all control, because it's over.
They have I have a new movie, I believe it's Amazon Prime video called G20. And if you've seen that, y'all, that movie is, about a U.S. president. So I know they have these G summits, G7, 8, well, this is G20. And the U.S. president is a melanated female played by Viola Davis, who goes to South Africa for a summit to convince the other countries to switch to the digital currency. So about that. And I felt that was very interesting and timely that they would put that out. Now, is it a precursor to what they're going to do, what they're planning to do anyway? You know what I mean? With that, to get people to get engrossed in that movie so much that when it comes, you take it like, oh, it was a good thing. It was humanitarian because because they played it off in the movie some of somewhat like that. So, but I thought it was interesting. Now you look at things and you go, okay, I see the signals they're sending out. I see what they're trying to do, because you can't look at anything anymore for entertainment.
And it's multiple layered message, because it's also showing you who the real matriarch is.
Mm-hmm.
The same way, what's the sister Sylvia, who did the Matrix, that that the Gazarians robbed her at first. Remember, they robbed her, and that's back to hypothecation. That was usufruct. But that's the structure of the U.S. It is designed. In other words, that's not an aspect of it. It is the military operations of Rome for that purpose. That's its existence. And this is where we have, because they've controlled the narrative, our people keep thinking they have a corrupt politician here and a corrupt politician there, and not understanding that the U.S. is 100,000%
corrupt.
From the top to the bottom by design, but it's giving a beautiful face. That's called prima facie. Semblance, distinguished from that which is real. Also, from an operative trade position referred to as fiat. Fiat has multiple faces and most people can't see them. It's another reason why we're saying this, because their concept is money, not understanding this government. And declarations, decrees, or bulls from Rome declaring power never vested in them, power of God, of whom they are not. Yet they claim the position and take the throne. The position is the reason why they always lead is that they always shoot the champions and take the medal. That's why they won't reveal the truth about the sacrifice of Malik, that they call Malcolm, and anyone who crosses them that threatens the operations unum sanctum. And that's why all these years, 62 some odd years, that's why they have all the information and they tell you about other countries, but yet they haven't told the people here about the truth about JFK. But he did that executive order dealing with the issue of gold, didn't he?
JFK?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's not the only reason they neutralized him, but I'm just saying to you the very fact that the general public, who keep on thinking that, quote unquote, these people are their government, don't know, but yet they still being supporting them through taxation that's fraudulently collected when they actually are private corporation. This is why it's always key for people to keep in mind when they're studying anything that we presented, to remember the position of the representatives for the banking system belonging to the Khazarians, their approach to the United States Corporation Company when they came at them on the principle of leeches, relative to that $24 check that was forged in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, which is called the Clearfield Doctrine. So you need to look at the motive behind, because the members of the bar know what I'm saying right now as a standard protocol of understanding government. And I present that to you as reference so that you can recognize your own naivety, those of you who still think that these people are your government. And this is back to recognizing how how comfortably they've done and are doing things right into people's faces when information is available to actually knock all of it out. But the people still maintain a sense of allegiance to their own enemy because they think it's their government. And they think anybody that shows or exposes anything is the enemy when it's not true. Including the same Khazarians that wrote that article about me, I think around 205, calling me the Fourth World War. Hoping someone would neutralize me after they put that signal out. They tried 3 times. Also, just let you know, in the last 5 years, I was poisoned twice. I just didn't tell you. Really need, because remember, also as an interjection, remember, poison is Rome's major, their major tool. That's their most usual way. No different than they've done many of, and this is for many of you who also may not or may have and may also be distracted with, although it's a point of interest, quote unquote, non performance insurance policies. Repeat, non performance insurance policy. Then make a database and trace back even back to Bessie Smith and beyond, Billie Holiday right on up to Angie Stone, Whitney and all the rest of them, Sam Cooke, all the rest of them, including actors. And start paying attention to patterns. But very few people talk about the non-performance insurance policies and who actually owns the policies. Khazarians.